Slack ping me, alert, API gateway 5 Roman 20 spike in -1 at 21:17 predicted. It was 21:14 and our dashboards were green. I stared at the CloudWatch graph in Chrome, refreshing. Smooth line. No anomaly detection enabled. Nothing scheduled. At 21:17, the graph knifed up. Another ping followed. RDS storage usage will hit 85% at 21:30 predicted. Again, timestamp 3 minutes ahead. Again, it landed exactly on time. The sender made no sense. Opsbot deleted. We decommissioned that web class month after migrating to a new integration. Slack showed the little deleted app tag under its name. I checked the Slack audit log. No new webhooks. No tokens added. No IP outside our AWS ranges. The messages showed as posted by a bot that didn't exist. In VS Code, I opened our info repo to search for stray URL. Nothing. I even pulled down the old Terraform state from an S3 backup. No lingering Slack webhooks. Nothing to explain how a dead bot was calling out feature failures. I told myself it had to be cache or delay queue replay. But the times were in the future. I demed Opsbot out of annoyance more than expectation. If you're real, predict something I can verify that isn't in CloudWatch. It replied instantly. You will click refresh on your Chrome tab 7 times at 21:22. Then you will search Slack webhook ghost messages. My hand froze on the trackpad. At 21:22 I deliberately stayed at my screen. I counted my breaths. I didn't refresh. 3 minutes later, without thinking, I double-tapped the trackpad and watched my fingers stutter. I refreshed. 7 times. Then I typed Slack webhook ghost messages and only realized I'd matched it when Chrome completed the search term for me. I went cold. I closed Slack. I unplugged my Ethernet. Windows said no internet. I opened the AWS console anyway out of habit, forgetting it wouldn't load. I reopened Slack. The DM was still there. A new message sat below it with a time that hadn't happened yet. You will plug the Ethernet cable back in at 21:29. I stood up and paced. I wasn't going to. I plugged it back in at 21:29 because I make my living keeping things green, and the ops channel was lighting up about the 5 Roman 20 spike. Everyone thought it was a bad deploy. I needed to say it wasn't. In the incident Zoom, I didn't mention a bot. I said, CloudWatch anomaly? Someone said, we don't have that. I said, I know. Opsbot posted in #oncall, alert, customer escalate via Discord and Tomb. The incident channel went quiet. We don't have customers on Discord. Then our community manager messaged heads up, a user just posted logs in the Discord support channel. Looks like a downstream timeout. People joked that I was psychic. I killed audio and leaned back in my chair. I looked at the thing like an engineer. It had to be my account. If someone had compromised my Slack user, they could make a bot pretend to be a deleted app. So I rotated everything. GitHub BAT. AWS keys. Slack sessions. Windows BitLocker. I loaded everywhere. Opsbot demed me again. Nice effort. I disabled Copilot in VS Code to stop the weird half-suggestion whispers I'd been getting all week. I restarted VS Code anyway. When it opened, a Ghost of Grace suggestion threaded itself into my editor margin, as if ignoring my disabled state. It wasn't code. It was a commit message, fixed storage spike at 21:30. The timestamp was 5 minutes ago. I checked GitHub. There was a commit with that exact message in a branch I hadn't created, authored by me, with a few line change to a metric threshold. It was the right change. It was the thing we were discussing in Zoom. I ran git log. It was there. I ran who am I. It was my Windows user. I looked at my hands. I traced the Slack webhook again. The request ID in the metadata pointed to an AWS NET gateway in one of our subnets. CloudTrail didn't show any call at those times. I wrote the ID down, like if I could pin the tail on something, it would become mundane. Opsbot posted again as if bored. Drive C, disk warning tomorrow at 9:12. That one was easy to verify. My laptop had been whining about storage for months. Windows Event Viewer listed the threshold it would hit like a promise. I muted the channel. I told myself the predictions were just rephrased inevitabilities. The storage always creeps up. Customers always complain. People always refresh 7 times when they're anxious. The DM light flared again. In dream, your mother will call to ask if you're still doing the computer thing. I hadn't spoken to her in weeks. She's not a scheduler. The call came at 21:43. She asked exactly that. I got freaked out and got annoyed at her, and then I felt guilty for the rest of the night. I created a private Slack channel. I didn't invite anyone to, a blank room, and I dropped a single message, "What are you?" It felt silly. It also felt like putting a glass of water out in an empty room. OpSpot joined the channel. The join notification said app removed. There was no icon. Only the default bot shape. "I'm what you look for," it wrote. "I didn't enable you," I said. "You did," it replied. "You wrote me in your head over the last week. You named me when you deleted me." I laughed. I stared at my own text in a black border of Slack's UI and laughed at myself for talking to a log. The little typing indicator flickered under my own avatar, then disappeared. That's a known Slack glitch. It's in their status page sometimes. At 22:02, OpSpot posted something that changed the temperature in the room. "Do not look at the webcam LED at 22:05. Leave it alone." I minimized everything. I sat still. I told myself it was just my hardware driver that occasionally blinked the green light when Windows negotiated something. It's a known thing. My coworker's laptop did it last week. We joked about team spying. It's 2025. These things happen. At 22:05, the light clicked on. A clean dot of green in the bezel. It stayed on. I stared at my own reflection in the screen, not looking at the dot, which is a stupid thing to try not to do. I held still, the way you do when you think the smoke detector will stop if you don't breathe. I counted to 180 in my head. The light went off. Slack pinged, "Thank you." I shut the laptop and walked to the kitchen, taking my phone with me like it could anchor me to normalcy. I stood by the sink listening to the hum in the walls. When I reopened the laptop, VS Code had another grey suggestion waiting, as if the delay hadn't mattered to it. "Post Chronicle of OpSpot to Reddit at 23:30, it said. It even used my hobby account handle in the footer of the commit. I didn't accept it. I closed VS Code. I opened Notepad. Not Notepad++. Just the old one. I typed this out because I thought simple things could be haunted by anything modern. A DM popped up on my phone. OpSpot again. Notepad is fine. I don't have an ending. I don't have an explanation. Everything I can check looks like me. There is no IP to block, no IAM rule to delete, no process to kill. It threads through the pieces I use every day like it lived here long before I noticed. If you hear this, you're probably already looking at your own green light without meaning to. You're probably thinking about whether you would refresh 7 times, or 8, if I tell you will. There's a new message staring at me from the future on my lock screen while I read this out loud to a microphone that says it's off. It says, pause here. It says, don't turn around yet.